ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaskar, my dear friends. This is video number 4 on the holy book Updesa Saram, most preferred and recommended by Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharshi for the devotees and sadhakas who indulge in the spiritual sadhana of self-enquiry for self-realization and liberation. So I start this video with stanza number 21. Idam pada bhikkhaya manva ahem ilinek payalaya satyaya. And this interrupted I is the true meaning of the term I, because when the waking ego I daily disappears in deep sleep, the real I remains. Each day the jiva undergoes the equivalent of death when overtaken by sleep. Yet, as in the physical death of the body, his true identity remains. Therefore, the jnani has no more fear of death than of sleep, knowing that his pure being and consciousness are unaffected. Thereby, the same survival is true of all jivas. Yet the ignorant know it not and live in a state of fear and desire. Desire for a state of peace, security, and happiness, which is already their true nature. Stanza number 22. Vigraha Endriya Prana Dhittamah Nehmeka Sat Tajjadam Hayasat. This true I, the one reality, is not the body or the senses or mind or breath or ignorance. These are all inert and insentient. To discover this truth is the real purpose of human life. Pleasure, happiness, and satisfaction are certainly to be found in this world of sensual experience, but they are sadly only temporary conditions bound by time and place, inevitably followed by frustration and pain. In the Manu Samhita, the student is advised desire is never extinguished by the enjoyment of desired objects. It only grows stronger like a fire fed with clarified butter. If one man should obtain all those sensual enjoyments and another should renounce them all, that renunciation of all pleasures is far better than the attainment of them. This verse of Updesa explains why this is so. The senses and body are not one's true I or self, Any attempt to use them for enjoyment is bound to end in futility. However, until liberation, we feel compelled to repeat each attempt again and again. One must stress in this verse the sense in themselves. When asked why Updesa Saram speaks of the body, etc., as jada or insentient, Maharshi replied, they are insentient in as much as you say they are apart from the self. But when the self is found, this body, etc., are also found to be in the self. Afterwards, no one will ask the question and no one will say they are insentient. The verse concerns specifically the five seats, which envelop the individual and prevent him from realizing his true nature. Tamas, tama, darkness or ignorance refers to Anandmay kosa or blissful sheath, which covers one during deep sleep. Stanza number 23. सत्वा भासिका चित्वा वितारा सत्या ही चित चित्तया हयाहम. There is only one being that can know reality. That one only being is itself a reality and is itself consciousness. This simple revelation sums up the whole of the Jnani's experience and the whole metaphysics of Advaita. The reference here is to the impossibility of the I seeing itself. The self reality cannot see itself, for there are not two selves, permitting one to see the other. The self can only be itself. It sees itself only as a reflection in the cosmos, just as the eye requires a mirror to its to see its own form. Sri Maharshi comments on this and the previous verses to where sentience or consciousness lies. In the former verse 20, the body, senses, breath, mind, and nescience are described as asat, unreal, and jadam, insentient, while the I is eka sat, the one reality. Then the question remains, is the I chit sentient or jadam insentient? To this, the reply is given in verse 23. Sat reality is chit sentient. Speaking to a young girl, 5-year-old Indra, who had picked out some Sanskrit letters of the Updesa Saram, verse 22 and 23, the Maharshi explained that they meant, I am not the body. Who am I? I am He. Deham, Naham, Koham, Soham. The Maharshi asked her to make them her mantra, saying it was the essence of wisdom. Indra continued to recite these words for the rest of her brief life. Stanza number 24. ईसा जीवर वेसिदिभा सत स्वभावतो vastu kevalam. Both creator and creatures are essentially one and the same reality. Their apparent differences are due only to differences in form and levels of knowledge. The key to this and the following verse is Varsha or attributes. Vastu Kevalam or absolute Brahman is Nirguna Brahman without any limiting attributes whatsoever. Saguna Brahman is the ultimate reality, which appears to take on attributes in manifestation. God the Creator or Isa has the attributes all knowing and all powerful. The individual or Jiva is ignorant and weak. Yet basically Isa and Jiva are the same substance. So long as one thinks he is the body, he shall be bound by attributes. When by the enquiry, who am I? He discovers he is not the body. He also discovers that he is in reality attributeless like Brahma, referring to tried common to all religious systems, the individual, the world, and God. Sri Bhagavan says that these are all the illusions of the outgoing mind. When, however, they are viewed from the standpoint of ultimate reality, they are seen as one. The Sanskrit text Isa Jivayo between Iswara and the individual identifies two persons, the creator and created, and the verse concludes that they are both the same in essence, the absolute Brahma, differing only in their attributes of power and knowledge. Stanza number 25. Vesahanata Savatam Darshanam Is Darshanam Sava Atam Rupatah. When the creature abandons its illusory individual form and recognizes itself as without attributes, it sees the creator as its own true self. The solution to the ignorance and weakness of the individual is here revealed. It lies in the elimination of attributes, Vesa, by recognizing that one is truly not the body or the mind, which are the vehicles of limitation. Such recognition is possible only after the ego is dead and one has surrendered himself to the Creator. Then both are known to be the same attributeless reality or self. Ironically, our efforts to improve our own image and achieve fame and wealth and power serve actually to increase our limitations. Stanza number 26. Atam Sansithti Sav Atam Darshanam Atam Nirdavyatam Nishtata. Being the self is knowing the self, because there is only one self and not two. This being and knowing the self is abiding in the reality. The same imperative is given in the Maharshi's 40 verses on reality. Other than turning the mind within and lodging it in the self, how is it possible to think of the self with the mind? And elsewhere, can knowledge be other than being? Being is the core, the heart. How then is the Supreme Being to be contemplated and glorified only by remaining the pure self? Therefore, it is futile to attempt to understand the self by reasoning or intellectual arguments. Thought is an obstacle to self-realization, which in the end can be attained only when the ego has been destroyed and all conceptualizing abandoned. Stanza number 27. ज्ञान वर्जिता ज्ञान विहीनम चित ज्ञानम अस्ति किम ज्ञातु मंत्रम. True knowledge is beyond what we think of as knowledge or ignorance, because in the state of non-differentiation, what other thing is to be known? The Jnani is aware of everything as the self. He does not see objects as existing in themselves as objects, but only as reflections of the one universal Brahma. Hence, while the Jnani is not ignorant, he does not have knowledge of objects, since, unlike the Jiva, he knows nothing as other than the self. Sankara has insisted on this as the essence of Advaita. All modifications of clay, such as a jar, etc., which are always accepted by the mind as real, are in reality nothing but clay. Similarly, this entire universe, which is produced from the real Brahma, is Brahma itself and nothing but that. And again, all that is perceived, all that is heard is Brahma and nothing else. Attaining the knowledge of reality, one sees the universe as the non-dual Brahma, being knowledge, bliss, absolute. Stanza number 28. Kim Savrup Mitya Darshane Avyabhava Chit Sukham. If one's true self is known, then there is neither birth nor death, but eternal being, consciousness, bliss. The Maharshi often asked those who came to him with questions to find out if they had ever been born. Once they had been able to answer this fundamental question, he said, they would have no others. This verse puts the matter in a different order. When, by the sadhana prescribed in the preceding verses, one knows his self, then he will discover that he was never born. All earthly existence is experienced by an apparent entity which believes itself to have been born and to have enjoyed and suffered. An entity which will finally die, it is only as real as the subject in a dream. Stanza number 29. Band muktayatitam param sukham Vindhati Jivastu Devikaha. The Jiva who attains the state of supreme bliss beyond any thoughts of bondage or freedom is truly devoted to the Lord. This verse is the Maharshi's conclusion as to the relationship between the Bhakti and Jnana Marga, first mentioned in verse 5. Abiding in the state of supreme bliss is true service or worship of the Lord, because the divine Jiva is not separate from Brahma and realizes his identity. Whatever he may do is itself divine. Devotion is not truly bhakti so long as the worshipper believes himself to be a separate reality, usurping thereby something of the universality of the Lord's being and consciousness. Only the utter surrender of one's individuality can be true bhakti, which is also true jnana. Stanza number 30. Ahem apitkam nija vibhankam mahadidam tapo Ramana Vagyam. When the individual I has disappeared and the real I has been found, that is excellent tapas. Ramana says this. This final verse places the whole of Updesa Saram in the setting of the story of the Daruka forest ascetics as used by Muruganar. The ascetics had practiced austerities, tapas for false purposes. The Maharshi affirms here that Atma Vichara is itself the excellent tapas, that they should make use of true happiness. Muruganar wrote the original Tamil version of this verse, stating Ramana Maharshi to be the self. Sri Ramana did not himself say that he was enlightened except by implication and did not carry Muruganar's statement over into the Sanskrit version of this verse. Nevertheless, it is as Lord Ramana, the Self, that he speaks in these 30 verses. And for those who understand and follow and are freed by this advice, it is he alone who teaches and guides and frees. So I end this video here. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. Namaskar my dear friend. And this completes the book Updesa Saram. Thanks. Namaskar.